We're going to continue with our Christian character traits, and I reckon what I'm going to speak about today is going to bless us all, and I believe that the young ones at the back there are going to be blessed by this sermon as well. So now this sermon is sort of designed a little bit for the young ones here, which is all of you. So hopefully it'll bless you. Who knows this guy who used to read the story of Pinocchio? This sermon's called Honesty, a sermon about being honest. Who knows that a Christian character trait should be honesty? We should be honest in everything we do. We should be honest with ourselves. We should be truthful in everything that we say, and in the way that we treat people. We should be honest. There should be never any dishonesty among Christians among Christian circles. And you read in the book of, in the different books of the Bible, how the early church were being dishonest in many things as well. But let's just take a look at, and it shouldn't be that way, and Paul was rebuking the church for it. John 8:31, if we can turn there. All right, and it says this: "To the Jews who had believed him, Jesus said, 'If you hold to my teaching, you are really my disciples.'" Just quickly dwell on that. If you hold to my teaching, you are really my disciples. So a true disciple is someone that holds to the teachings of Jesus. So you could say, if you were a Christian but you're not holding to the teachings of Christianity, you could say they're not truly disciples of Christ. We can make that judgment. That's why Jesus says you'll know them by their fruit, the way that they are, the way they conduct themselves, the things they produce in their life. So we've got to check ourselves honestly against that. Are we holding to the teachings of Jesus Christ? Because who would you like to go through life claiming to be a Christian your whole life and then find out at the end of your life that you've never been a disciple? Who would like to be deceived their whole life thinking they're Christian and then to find out at the judgment seat of Christ that you're actually not a disciple? You've never held to the teachings of Jesus Christ. Now, how do you hold to the teachings of Jesus Christ? Firstly, you've got to know what they are. And you know what? It's who among us could articulate that accurately? Yeah? We could give it a shot, couldn't we? I think you guys could give it a pretty good shot. I know I could speak to many of you here that could sit down and over a period of an hour fairly accurately tell me what it is to follow Jesus. But at the same time, as you're saying it, you'll be saying, I fail in this. I fail in this. Who knows that feeling? I can preach. You know how easy it is to preach it and how hard it is to live it? And like I always say to you guys, I always preach what's actually going on in me, things that I'm trying to deal with. God deals with me, and then I think this is going to be good for the church. Yeah. So it's imperative that we become disciples of Jesus, and by obeying his teachings, holding to his teachings, then you will know the truth. So it's only when you know the teachings of Jesus, it's only when you obey the teachings of Jesus that you know the truth. Because without that, you can't possibly know the truth. Your truth will be governed, like Daniel was talking about, by a culture. Our culture will be teaching us what the truth is. Who knows our culture tells us that homosexuality is fine? Who knows that? Does our culture teach that? Does our culture teach us a range of things? That's not, you can do this, you can do that, and there's no problem. Go out and get drunk as often as you want. Party hard. They teach that. That you got to party to live this life. You got to. Life is short. Go for it. Live it as hard as you possibly can. So 8:31 to 32. Then you'll know the truth. And you can only know the truth by if you become a true disciple of Jesus Christ, and you only become a true disciple of Jesus Christ by knowing his teachings, and the truth will set you free. Honesty. Honesty is free of deceit. Deceit. What is deceit? Being dishonest. A deceiver. You don't want to be a deceiver. Saying one thing, doing another, or saying something deliberately to make them do something. Yeah, evil. Yeah. So honesty is being free of deceit, and it's also being free of untruthfulness. Who finds it easy here? Don't have to put up your hand, But who finds it easy to say little white lies to get you out of having to explain something? Or who used to before they were Christian? Yeah? Who finds it easy just to get out of things just by quickly saying a little white lie? I can't do that because we got something to do or whatever. It's easy to do that. Withholding certain information, yeah. But it's very easy to be untruthful, and in your heart you're sort of thinking, oh, it's not hurting, it's just a little thing. I'm actually doing it because I don't want to hurt their feelings, It's that sort of thing going on. Honesty is being sincere. It's being morally correct. Morally correct. Again, morally correct according to our culture is being, you can be homosexual and you can be morally correct. And this is an interesting thing. The way our culture is moving, it won't be long before adultery is fine. And why I'm bringing that up is because I've been listening to some certain speakers who say things like, if you're in a relationship and you're not happy, get out of it. So they're promoting divorce, they're promoting separation. Is that morally correct to do that? But these, like New Age teachers, it's all about being happy, and if you're not happy, rather than correct things that are going wrong in your relationship that are caused by the culture itself usually, they just say, get out of it, get free of it. Drop your partner, get a new one, So, and what that also does is it leads them to think, well, if I accept that teaching, then, I can really go and commit adultery with someone as well. And that's the way our culture is heading. Morally correct or virtuous, and virtuous means a showing of high moral standards, blameless and well-intentioned. So 2 Corinthians 13:8, if you can turn there. It says, for we cannot do anything against the truth, but only for the truth. That should be our mindset. We can't do anything against the truth, but we can only do things for the truth. Proverbs 12:22, and it says this, the Lord detests lying lips. Who's got a different translation? Dave, what does yours say? Does it? And King James? Are an abomination. That's pretty heavy words, isn't it? And an abomination. NASB? An abomination to the Lord. So God doesn't like it. He doesn't like lying lips. He doesn't like us to speak or tell lies. The Lord detests lying lips, or is an abomination to the Lord, but he delights in men who are truthful. If you want the Lord to delight in you, be truthful in everything. Always find a way of telling the truth. But you know what? In telling the truth all the time, who knows that you can choose better words sometimes. Yeah. It's very easy sometimes to tell the truth, and that truth will hurt because of the spirit with which you tell the truth. So we've got to tell the truth, but we've got to choose our words carefully. Therefore, we need the Spirit to move in us to give us the right things to say. Proverbs 19:1, if we can go there just a few chapters forward. Proverbs 19:1. And it says, better a poor man whose walk is blameless than a fool whose lips are perverse. Now, what does the King James say in that one, Elizabeth? Yes. Reading that, and I don't like to correct the Bible, but I thought this proverb would be better said, better a poor man whose walk is blameless than a rich man whose lips are perverse. I thought that would have been a stronger contrast, but, Solomon can't do everything correctly. But let's go to the next one, which is Proverbs 6. So Proverbs 6:16, and it says, there are six things the Lord hates, 7 that are detestable to him. And these are haughty eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked schemes, feet that are quick to rush into evil, a false witness who pours out lies. So notice there's two lots of lyings, forms of lying there that he hates. And a man who stirs up dissension among his brothers. Do you make sure that you check your heart in this? The reason I preach it is for you to check your heart to know, do I lie? Have I become a compulsive liar? There's been patches in my life, this is Christianity, even during being a Christian, where I had times where lying was just the easier way to do things. And I know a lot of people who became extremely compulsive in lying to the point where they no longer could tell whether they were lying or being truthful. That it became a big blur. The whole thing became blurry between truth and lies. And lies come in many forms. So we've got to be very, very careful that what we're saying is an accurate representation of the truth. I'll say that again. So what we are saying should be an accurate representation of the truth. It's very easy to distort the truth. Do you know what I'm sort of saying? I could think of some examples, but my brain's not giving me one at the moment, or the Spirit's not giving me one. Well, politicians, yeah, they know how to say a lot of things and not say anything. Just avoid saying anything. 1 Peter 3:10-12. So back into the New Testament. Whoever would love life. Put your hand up if you love life. Yeah? I love life, but if it says here, whoever is to love life and see good days. If you are to see good days, you must keep your tongue from evil and his lips from deceitful speech. You will not see good days if your tongue becomes a lying tongue. He must turn from evil and do good. He must seek peace and pursue it. For the eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears are attentive to their prayers. The Lord really does watch over the ways of the righteous. His eyes are upon the righteous, those that speak the truth. Here's a good example of before. If someone slightly varying the truth, there might be an incident that takes place, and this is for you guys at the back, an incident that takes place at school. And in many respects, you may have provoked the incident to take place, and the person that actually took matters in their own hands responded or provoked it as well. But there was this clash. But just the wording that we use when we tell our parents about it lends the story to be that it was totally them and none of us. Do you know what I'm saying? Who's had their children come to them and give them stories where they're completely innocent, totally innocent, yet the other kid is completely, totally in the wrong. He's the worst kid. No one likes him or her, and etc. Right? I've heard that story many, many times. And who tends to, through the love of your child, believe that the child is completely right? Yeah. Right? The way Alicia tells me stories, she just knows how to get my back up against the person that she's telling the story about. She's really good at that. And she's so innocent. But the child knows how to twist the truth ever so slightly, leaving out important points, like little things that you may have done, to cause the incident. Therefore, they're not completely innocent, but they don't want you to think that, right? Is that natural? Do we do that? Do we do that? Yep. I know, as they say, it always takes two to tango in every situation. If there's a situation, I don't think I've ever been innocent in any situation that's gone bad in my life. And who knows, you can actually get blurry yourself on what the truth actually is, because you're just caught up in your side, and it's always defending your position, and the truth gets pushed to the sidelines a fair bit. Yeah. So the truth is one of those things, but as Christians, we should really, like I know in myself, I'll lay in bed at night and then the truth will come. And then repentance will follow. And then guess what? It's not until that time that I get set free. I get set free from the burden of the whole thing. Once I acknowledge, yes, I'm part of this. Yeah? All right, Colossians 3, 9 to 10. All right, so do not lie to each other, since you have taken off your old self and its practices and put on the new self, which is being renewed in the knowledge and the image of its creator. Why would Paul have said to the Colossian church, do not lie to each other? Why would he have said it? Maybe he recognized that that was taking place, or maybe he knew human nature well enough to know that it takes place. So we've just got to take that on board. Now, the last scripture we'll look up in relation to honesty. Let's just go to John 14:6. Before you look, just shut your Bibles for a second. John 14:6, and it says, Jesus answered them, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Yeah, so I am the way. He's also the truth. He is also honest, purely honest, right? So to be honest is to be like a representative, or to be Jesus Christ in a sense, or clothed in Jesus Christ, to have his spirit moving in us. So honesty and not lies proves that we are expressing Christ in our daily life. That's pretty obvious. To follow in the footsteps of Jesus, we must be honest to ourselves, honest with everyone we associate with, and of course honest to God. I think it's sometimes, well, personally, I find it easier to be honest with God. Who knows what I'm talking about? Does anyone find it easier to be honest about certain things that have taken place in your life in private with God? Things that you can't say to your fellow man, you can say to God. Now, isn't that a nice thing to know? That we can go to our Creator and be completely open and transparent with Him. At least we can be transparent with Him. We may have to hide things from men because of just the way men can judge us, or men can judge us, or women can judge us. But with God, we can be transparent. If you're not being transparent with your God, make sure you are. Go to Him and reveal your deepest secrets, the things that you feel ashamed about. Reveal them to Him and tell Him, let Him know, this is going on. And when you do that and you repent of that, it's amazing how you can feel after that. It's like a weight can be lifted off your back. To live an honest, righteous life is probably the highest and most noble goal a man or woman can have in life. To live that way is the highest level of nobility a man can aim for and strive for, is to be honest in everything. So just a few quotes that I found. Honesty is an expensive gift. Don't expect it from cheap people. I like that. It's expensive. Who knows it's expensive? Sometimes it can cause you, I can't even think of an example. Someone might think of one where you be honest and it costs you your job, or it costs you all sorts of things. It can be expensive. In a court case, imagine if you knew the truth and the truth was going to put you in jail. That can be expensive, can't it? Yeah. Good example. Thanks for that. I thought I'd leave this one. Honest hearts produce honest actions. That's pretty obvious, isn't it? We all need to know what it means to be honest. Honesty is more than not lying. It is truth-telling, truth-speaking, truth-living, and truth-loving. It's like being honest is when you're with someone and you tell them about Jesus and speak truth to them. Did you know this is the truth about life? It's not what you think it is now. This culture has corrupted the truth, but I'm going to tell you what the truth is, and it's Jesus Christ. And it's everything He did for you on the cross. That's the truth. And the first step towards God is honesty. Honesty begets truth, truth begets light, and the truth will set you free. If you want light in your life, be honest, and be honest to God.